Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Maharaj's message is your advantage. The following is a Zoom question and answer session given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj on September 3rd, 2020 in Sri Mayapur, India.
Pangalangaitegaram Yatithasamahan Vande Sri Gurum Dinataninam Paramanandamadavam Sri Chaitanya Isram Harihi Om Tat Sat. Hi, Bol.
Hari Bol.
Some question.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. Guru Maharaj, how can we serve as a full-time in temple if temple management is not carrying your mood of preaching and they are absorbed in management of temple and not encouraging preaching? Your servant Ramananda Krishna Chaitanya Das, Bangalore.
As far as I know, all the temples in Bangalore are into preaching.
As far as I know, all the temples in Bangalore are in the preaching mood.
They seem to be extending the preaching in various ways.
They seems to be extending the preaching in various ways, expanding the preaching in various ways.
Well, I don't know particularly what. Maybe some temple needs a particular devotee, no particular service.
Maybe some temple needs particular devotees to do particular service.
And not please other devotees to do a lot of preaching.
And to please other devotees to do a lot of preaching.
I don't know if you talk to your local president.
I don't know whether if you talk to your local president.
Ask how you could at least sometime be engaged in preaching.
And ask at least how for some time at least engaged in preaching. Hare Krishna, my dear Guru Maharaj. Please accept my respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. One of the devotee whom I know, who is a disciple of you, has been fallen down. Parents of that devotee are constantly lamenting, and in great grief, their child has almost stopped practicing devotional service and left home and started living alone and doing bad sangha. My question is that if any devotee falls down from devotional service, should we lament for the devotee? Is it okay for the parent to lament excessively? Your daughter Sukanti Induleka Devidasi. Thank you.
Actually, a parent should want to make a son or daughter Krishna conscious.
Naturally, a parent should want to make their son or daughter Krishna conscious.
And when the son or daughter is well situated in Krishna consciousness,
when the son or daughter is well situated in Krishna consciousness,
naturally the parent is relieved.
Naturally, the parent is relieved.
And if a child is in Maya,
if the child is in Maya,
then naturally a parent should be preoccupied.
Naturally, the parent should be preoccupied.
Not to the extent that they give up their own practice of Krishna consciousness.
Not to the extent that they give up their own practice of Krishna consciousness.
But they will encourage the son to come back or be Krishna conscious.
But they should encourage the son to come back and be Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my most respectful obeisances to the dust of your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes I feel so low that I am not up to the mark. It is so overwhelming that I cannot remain enthusiastic anymore and to endeavor to render better service to the Lord. How do I deal with this conspiracy of mine? Thank you, your insignificant servant, Snigdamayi Sudevi Devidasi.
If we think are very qualified for devotional service,
If we think we are very qualified to do devotional service,
we're very proud.
then we are very proud.
If we are very proud,
If we are very proud,
not according to the instruction of Lord Chaitanya.
that is not according to the instructions of Lord Chaitanya.
We should be very humble, very tolerant,
We should be very humble, very tolerant,
offer respect to others,
offer respects to others,
don't expect respect for oneself.
don't expect respect for oneself.
So I don't understand. They're saying if I feel I'm not qualified.
I don't understand if you say, I don't feel qualified.
So therefore I lose my enthusiasm.
So therefore, I lose my enthusiasm.
We see that the great devotees like Narottam Das Thakur,
We see like the great devotees like Narottam Das Thakur,
they pray that to Lord Gauranga that your avatar is to deliver the most fallen.
they pray to Lord Gauranga that your avatar is to deliver the most fallen.
So there's no one more fallen than me.
Then there is no one more fallen than me.
So if you're feeling yourself very unqualified,
So if you are feeling yourself very unqualified,
very fallen,
very fallen,
then there's more chance you will get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya.
then there is more chance that you will get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya,
Since he's the deliverer of the most fallen.
since he is the deliverer of the most fallen.
You shouldn't lose your enthusiasm.
But you shouldn't lose your enthusiasm.
Since Lord Chaitanya has come to deliver the most fallen.
Since Lord Chaitanya has come to deliver the most fallen,
Therefore you have a good qualification.
therefore you have a good qualification.
Haribo.
Hari Bol. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances on your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Question. I learned from your class that Lord Chaitanya took sannyas at the age of 24. You have taken sannyas at the age of 21. What inspired you to take sannyas at the age of 21, which is such a young age? Thank you. Shruti, who's a 9-year-old girl from East London.
I was a brahmachari at the age of 19.
I was a brahmachari since the age of 19.
And then when I was 21,
And then when I was 21,
Prabhupada asked me if I wanted to be sannyas.
Prabhupada asked me whether if I wanted to be a sannyas.
So since he was offering me, I thought
So since he was offering me, I thought
it was a great opportunity.
it was a great opportunity.
And I accepted the chance.
So I accepted the chance.
Maybe I was innocent at the time,
Maybe I was innocent at that time.
but somehow or another, by Prabhupada's mercy, I've been able to maintain my vows.
But somehow or other, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, I've been able to maintain my vows
And increase the preaching
and increase the preaching
in various ways.
in various ways.
So I'm glad that in one sense Prabhupada gave me this
So
blessing.
I'm very glad that in one way that Prabhupada gave me this position,
Blessing.
his blessings. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj,
Hare Krishna!
please accept my respectful obeisances at your lotus feet.
Wow.
In past classes, you had said that one should not make sense gratification as the ultimate goal of life.
That's right.
Yes, correct. While following this particular principle, sometimes when we face fluctuation and swayed away by Maya, and because of our unlimited desires, we get engaged in any kind of sense gratification. How should we avoid or control ourselves, not being swayed away by Maya, and get determined in the service of Guru and Krishna? Please enlighten me, Srila Guru Maharaj, your disciple Deepa Priya Vrajeshwari Devi Dasi.
While we have senses in the material world,
Well, we have senses in this material world.
so naturally the senses need a certain amount of satisfaction.
So naturally, the senses need a certain amount of satisfaction
That depends on each individual.
that depends on each individual's.
And but that should not be our ultimate goal.
But that should not be the ultimate goal.
In the material world,
In the material world,
you see that people, if they make as a goal,
we,
they should be, senses should be happy.
we see people, they make their goal that their senses could be happy.
But the senses are source of happiness and source of suffering.
But the senses are the source of happiness and the source of suffering.
So while there may be some happiness
While there may be some happiness
and some suffering,
and some suffering,
we should tolerate that.
we should tolerate that.
And we should make our ultimate goal to serve Krishna.
But we should make our ultimate goal to serve Krishna.
So, certain very simple things we should avoid,
So there are certain very simple things we should avoid,
like taking meat, fish, egg, onion, garlic,
like taking meat, fish, egg, onion, garlic,
like gambling,
like gambling,
like taking intoxication,
like taking intoxication,
and having out of marriage, avoid the concrete,
and
out of marriage, having illicit sex.
having out of marriage illicit sex.
So, for a married person,
So if you are a married person,
natural that there'll be some material pleasure.
so it is natural there can be some material pleasure.
There'll also be some suffering.
Then there should be also some suffering.
Just like to conceive a child, there's some happiness,
Just like to conceive a child, there is some happiness,
but to have a child,
but to have a child,
is also pain.
that is also a pain.
So, labor pain,
The labor pain.
So, so that should not be our ultimate goal.
So that should not be our ultimate goal.
Our goal, we may have these certain desires,
You may have certain desires,
but the ultimate desire should be to serve and love Krishna.
but your ultimate desire should be to serve and love Lord Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Question. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So there are two questions, Guru Maharaj. The first question is that, what should be our mood while serving you, my dear spiritual master? And the second one is, how should we develop feeling of gratitude and humility? Your sheltered spiritual daughter, Pooja, Bangalore.
Naturally, we should serve the spiritual master as a representative of his guru, the Guru Parampara, and Krishna.
Naturally, we should serve the spiritual master as the representative of his guru, the Guru Parampara, and Krishna.
So, in this way, Krishna is watching,
So, in this way, Krishna is watching,
and how we satisfy our spiritual master,
and how we are satisfying our spiritual master.
that Krishna sees.
That Krishna sees,
He blesses accordingly.
and he blesses accordingly.
Now, how to develop the proper attitude
And how to develop the proper attitude
that happens naturally as we progress in our spiritual life.
that happens naturally as we progress in our spiritual life.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dear Guru
Thank
Ma-
you for your question.
Thank you for your question, Pooja Mataji. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my respectful, humble obeisances. Thank you for the class. Question. An initiated neophyte has vowed to follow the regulative principles, chant daily 16 rounds, and to help you and help Srila Prabhupada in spreading Krishna consciousness all around the world. Say, such a neophyte has broken this vow in the attempt to meet the demands of his competitive world due to his past bad karma. How can such a person be attractive and inspiring to the common man, plus come back to the spiritual life and resume to his Guru's pleasure? Your son Partha Prananath Das from Bangalore.
I say that why taking of the first initiation
So we see that while taking the first initiation
described as taking a new birth.
is described as taking a new birth.
So naturally, when you're taking a birth, when you're a baby,
So naturally you are taking birth when you are a baby,
toddler,
a toddler,
you may fall down a few times
then you may fall down a few times
and gradually learn to walk.
and gradually you learn how to walk.
So at the first initiation,
So at your first initiation,
it's expected that
it is expected that
there may be a few mistakes,
there may be a few mistakes,
and one should pick out, continue to practice.
and one should pick up and continue to practice,
This way they can progress.
and in this way they can progress.
When one takes the second initiation,
But when one takes the second initiation,
they should be more considered like 9 or 12 years old.
they are considered to be like 9 or 12 years old.
At that time, if they're sitting in the lap of their mother,
If at that time they are sleeping at the lap of the mother
passing stool or something,
and passing stool on it,
then something is wrong.
then something is
A
wrong.
little baby is expected,
Little baby, it is expected,
not expected of a 9 or 12-year-old boy.
but not expected in a 9 or 12 years old boy. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to your divine grace and His divine grace Srila Prabhupada. What is the benefit of the atheist of Navadvip from having the darshan of Lord Gauranga for 24 years and sometimes hearing Lord Chaitanya's chanting? And did they also felt some separation from Lord Gauranga when he left? Your humble servant Marichi Das.
Oh,
Wow.
maybe some did.
Maybe
Some did.
Maybe some did,
But the ones that were mentioned in today's class
but
didn't.
the ones who are mentioned in today's class, they didn't.
They are laughing and happy.
And they are laughing, happy
The Lord has left.
that the Lord has left.
You don't have to see him anymore.
They don't have to see Him anymore.
So we know that even Kansa was an atheist,
We know that even Kamsa was an atheist,
but he was always thinking about Krishna.
but he was always thinking about Krishna.
Krishna will come to kill me.
Krishna will come to kill me.
One day, two wives
One day his two wives
came, one dressed in white gown, one dressed in black gown.
came, one dressed in white garment and one dressed in black garment.
And then, he said, oh no, Krishna's going to kill me.
And he said, "Oh no, Krishna and Balaram, they are coming to kill me."
And his minister said, no, it's your wife.
No, his minister said, No, they are your wives. Ah.
So if you're an atheist, you're always thinking about Krishna,
But if you are an atheist and always thinking about Krishna,
then that's useful.
then that is useful.
But if you just occasionally think negatively about Krishna,
But if you are just occasionally think negative about Krishna,
then you're a candidate for going to Patala.
then you are a candidate to go to going to Patala Loka.
You're free ticket, one way.
Your free ticket, one way. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories unto you, Gurudev. This question is from my 4 years old daughter Kishori. So her question is, why we are not showing chamara and peacock feather while we do Tulasi Arati? So the question was written by her mother, Sri Guru Sevanandi Devidasi.
Interesting question.
Interesting question.
We tend to offer a very short and limited arti
So we tend to offer a very short and limited arati
with incense, lamp.
with incense, lamp and flower.
I don't know if there's any particular instruction against.
I don't know whether there is a particular instructions against,
We generally offer this very simplified arti to Tulsi.
but we generally offer this very simplified arati to Tulasi.
Vrinda Kunda, our deity of Vrinda Devi, Tulsi.
In Vrinda Kunda, there is a deity of Vrinda Devi Tulasi.
I wonder whether they offer a more elaborate puja there.
I wonder that whether they offer a more elaborate puja there.
Does anyone know?
Does anyone know?
So, in Vrinda Kunda, Vrinda Devi, they offer a chandar and all that. And
So in Vrinda Kunda for Vrinda Devi, they offer chamara and all that.
so, it's just that for the Tulsi plant,
It is just
they
for
offer a very
simplified.
minimal piece puja.
So it's just that for the Tulasi plant, we offer a very minimal puja.
Just like for Lord Singhadev, we don't offer all the articles.
Just like for Lord Larshingadev, we don't offer all the articles. Question. Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj, how do we remain calm in provoking situation and not to react? I usually try not to get affected, but someone is saying but end up reacting or saying something, and that I regret later. This is a question from Ishani Rukmini Devi Dasi, Bangalore.
All the vices can be dovetailed in Krishna's service on any vices.
Voices except all your voices can be dovetailed in Krishna's service except envy.
So we can be angry when Krishna is offended,
We can be angry when Krishna is offended,
when the devotee is offended,
when the devotee is offended,
but if there's some disturbing situation
but someone in some disturbing situation
and hampering their sense gratification,
hampering their sense gratification,
they shouldn't get angry.
they shouldn't get angry.
If they get angry,
If they get angry,
it's a vice.
it is voice,
A vice, a mistake,
a mistake,
and sinful.
sinful.
Like that, we should get angry for the right reason.
So like that we should get angry for the right reason.
And otherwise, we should be tolerant.
Otherwise we should be tolerant.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. Sometimes we want to help someone, but they turn away for various reasons. But we know that they require help. So, how could we not get frustrated that we couldn't help and in the same time to help them too? Your daughter Rasapriya Gopika Devi Dasi.
There are many reasons why we may not be able to help someone.
There are many reasons why we may not able to help someone.
I mean, just like a father, he doesn't like to hear instructions from his daughter.
Like we see, just like a father, he don't like to hear instructions from his daughter.
And other circumstances,
For various circumstances,
the relationship may be such that you can't really instruct a person who's senior to you.
the relationship may be disturbed. You can't really instruct a person who's senior to you
Or who thinks he's senior.
or who thinks he's senior.
He or she is a senior.
He or she is a senior.
So, in such a situation,
So in such a situation,
you have to help the person using some tactic,
so you have to help the person using some tactic,
either by asking a question,
Like asking, you can help him by asking a question.
like, I look to you, you're a very advanced person, very senior,
Like, I look to you, you are a very advanced person, you are very senior,
but I have a question.
but I have a question.
I see that sometimes you go behind the bathroom and smoke a cigarette.
I see sometimes you go behind the bathroom and smoke a cigarette.
Is this something I should do as well?
Is it something I should do as well?
You can ask something, it's a ridiculous example, but
Of course, this is a ridiculous example, but you can ask in this way.
something honest. Or maybe you can't help the person
Maybe you can help the person.
who cannot help.
If you cannot help the person,
You think who can,
who can? Then you think who can.
and how arrange it that that person does what he can or she can to help the person.
Arrange that person to tell him to help who he can help.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. How can I develop greed, lavlyam for Raganuga Bhakti? Your daughter Isha Priya Radha Devi Dasi, Colombia, Bogota.
How the whole purpose of Bhakti Yoga is to develop our intense desire or loyalty for Krishna.
The whole purpose of Bhakti Yoga is to develop our intense desire or lavlyam to serve Krishna.
So this is something that should be increasing as we go on.
It is something that it should be increasing
As we go on,
as we go on.
and not a separate endeavor.
It's not a separate endeavor.
As we become attached to Radha and Krishna, as we become attached to Lord Chaitanya,
If we become attached to Radha and Krishna, if we become attached to Lord Chaitanya,
naturally we want to associate with him.
naturally we want to associate with them.
We're reading in this Leela of Lord Chaitanya and his leaving Navadvip,
We are reading that Leela, Lord Chaitanya leaving Navadvip,
how the devotees are lamenting in separation.
how the devotees are lamenting in separation.
They're holding their heads, they're crying, they're rolling on the ground,
They are holding their heads, they are crying, they are rolling on the ground.
really like wild people.
They are completely like a wild people.
Someone finally tells them,
Someone finally tells them,
you are very fortunate.
you are very fortunate
You have a personal relationship with Krishna.
that you had a personal relationship with Krishna Chaitanya
And he cares about you.
and he cares about you.
So you should control yourselves,
So you should control yourselves,
follow his instructions.
follow his instructions.
Like that, someone gave instruction.
So like that someone gave them some instructions.
So like that, we see how they developed so much deep attachment to Lord Chaitanya.
So like that we see how they had developed such a deep attachment to Lord Chaitanya.
We want also to develop that attachment.
So we want to also develop that attachment.
Lord Chaitanya taught that in this age of Kali,
Lord Chaitanya thought that in this age of Kali,
the way we can worship the Lord
the way we can worship the Lord
is through feeling separation.
is to feel his separation.
And that Vipalamba Bhav
So that in that Vipralamba Bhav,
is not difficult,
it's not difficult,
considering the Kali Yuga.
considering it is Kali Yuga.
And we are separated from the Lord.
We actually should back to the Lord.
And we are separated from the Lord.
We are separated from the Lord. We should serve in
Maybe
separation.
Gopati, no, I don't know, but I am.
Maybe Gopati is not, but I am. Oh, all glories to your lotus feet, dear Gurudev. This is the question: how can we understand the mood of Srila Prabhupada to improve our relationship with him and in the same way with you? From Bhakta Brian.
one of the qualifications of the Uttamadhikari,
One of the qualification of the Uttama Adhikari,
he cannot be understood.
he cannot be understood.
So it may not be completely possible
It may not be completely possible
for you to understand the mood of Prabhupada.
for you to understand the mood of Prabhupada.
But in principle, you can understand a little about his mood
But in principle, you can understand a little bit about his mood
by reading his books.
by reading his books.
And those books are available in Spanish.
Those books are available in Spanish.
I see that you're in Bogota, Colombia,
I see that you are in Bogota, Colombia,
and you can read the books, and you can feel and see how Srila Prabhupada
you can read the book, you can feel and you can see how Srila Prabhupada,
is so much attached to Krishna
how he
and
is so,
Gauranga.
how he is so much attached to Krishna and Lord Gauranga.
And you can start to be very grateful for all the help he's given to you.
And you can start to be very grateful for all the help given to you.
Then naturally you can advance.
And naturally you can advance.
A lot of questions, so I can't really speak too long on anyone.
There are a lot of questions. I can't really speak too long to anyone. Dear Guru Maharaj, as a part of preaching session, few new devotees had questions about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being Lord Krishna himself. We had shown them the scriptural references from Srimad Bhagavatam, Garuda Puran, etc. But they were not fully convinced. Please could you enlighten us the different ways through which we can try them to make them understand this. Your daughter Anuradha Ramaswamy, East London.
If a person accepts the Vedic literatures as evidence,
If the person accepts the Vedic literatures as evidence,
then they could be convinced
then they could be convinced
that there are lots of Vedic evidence.
after lots of Vedic evidence.
But say one does not really accept the Vedas,
But say, let's someone who does not accept the Vedas,
then just encourage them to chant.
then just encourage them to chant.
Lots of evidences in the Vedas and many scriptures of the world
There are many evidences in the Vedas and many scriptures in the world
that tell us we should chant the name of God.
that tells us we should chant the names of God.
When they feel a spiritual bliss
When they feel the spiritual bliss
of chanting the holy name,
of chanting the holy name,
or if they feel some peace,
or if they feel some peace,
then they may be more convinced.
then they may be more convinced.
You see, in the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam,
We see in the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam,
it mentioned that if someone
it is mentioned that if someone
engages in devotional service,
engages in devotional service,
that the cosmic knowledge and detachment
the
come. Causeless knowledge.
causeless knowledge and detachment comes.
So somehow get the people to engage in some service.
So somehow get the people to engage in some service.
Like maybe they're doing it as a social work,
Maybe they may do it as a social work,
or some like giving out prasadam to the hungry,
like giving out prasadam to the hungry,
to the homeless.
to the homeless.
Somehow or another they do some service,
Somehow or another they do the service
what they like to do.
which they like to do.
Have them do something they like to do.
Have them to do something that they like to do.
And then by doing that,
And then by doing that,
they get causeless knowledge and detachment.
they get causeless knowledge and detachment.
Maybe they don't, they can wake someone up who's asleep
Maybe we know that we can wake someone up who's asleep,
but if they're awake, pretending they're asleep, you can't
But-
wake them up
but if they are awake, then pretending to sleep, then we can't wake them up
because they're already awake.
because they are already awake.
So you may give the knowledge, the Vedas say this,
You may give the knowledge that the Vedas say this.
but if the person doesn't want to hear,
If the person he doesn't want to hear,
then it may not be so useful.
then it may not be so useful.
I had one person in Assam.
I had one person in Assam.
He had meditated in his closet.
He
Would meditate in his closet.
would meditate in his closet.
He was a believer in that he was God,
He was believer that he was the God.
and when he would tell anything, even in the 14th chapter, last verse of the Bhagavatam,
He would tell.
Bhagavad Gita rather, it says very clearly
If you see the 14th last verse of the 14th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita says very clearly
that the Lord is the basis of the impersonal Brahman,
the Lord is the basis of the impersonal Brahman,
but he couldn't accept.
but he couldn't accept.
And then he liked to do service.
But then he likes to do service.
So he engaged in service.
So we engaged him in service.
After a few years,
After a few years,
he said, I'm beginning to understand
he said,
devotional service.
he said, I'm beginning to understand devotional service.
So think of trying to convince
So
someone
think of trying to convince someone.
if they have a short circuit in their brain,
If they have a short circuit in their brain,
they can't understand
they can't understand.
and just engage in service.
That engage them to do service. Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my most respectful obeisances onto your divine lotus feet. While hearing the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, the separation mood, emotional feelings of his pure devotees, I am feeling very insignificant and useless. Are these feelings can be developed by some process, or the mood can be developed only by the causeless mercy of Guru and Gauranga?
Yes.
Yes.
Next question.
Next question.
Develop this gradually by devotional service.
You will develop this gradually by doing devotional service,
You get special mercy.
and you will get
You can get special mercy.
or you can get special mercy.
Sadhana Siddhi and Kripa Siddhi.
It is sadhana siddhi or kripa siddhi.
I don't know, when I read these pastimes
I don't know, when I read these pastimes
and hear about the devotees crying
and hear about
rolling on the ground,
the devotees crying, rolling on the ground,
I feel also like crying.
I feel also like crying.
So maybe this has something that has increased over the years.
Maybe this is something that has increased over the years.
So I think you should keep trying.
So I think you should keep trying,
And eventually it will be very easy for you
and then eventually it will be very easy for you
to feel kind of be affected by the emotions of the devotees.
to feel or be affected by the emotions of the devotees.
What is this?
Janani, Anand and Sanjeev, aspiring disciples from Bangalore. How do we maintain relations with non-devotees, especially while at work? How do we inspire them to come to Krishna consciousness?
We're friendly with the non-devotees.
We are friendly with the non-devotees.
We're kind to them,
We are kind to them.
but we don't want to listen. Part of exchanging love is to open your mind and hear the mind.
A part of exchanging love is open your mind and hear the mind.
I don't really want to open our mind to hearing the non-devotees.
So we really don't want to open our mind to hearing to the non-devotees.
Because their particular point may be negative to Krishna consciousness.
because their particular point may be negative towards Krishna consciousness.
If they're aspiring to be a devotee, then
If they are aspiring to be a devotee, then
we can take the trouble to listen.
we can take the trouble to listen.
But if they don't want to be a devotee, then
But if they don't want to be a devotee, then
hearing their details
hearing their details
may be somewhat polluting to the mind,
may be somewhat bewildering to the mind,
or polluting.
polluting to the mind.
How friendly or courteous,
How we are friendly, we are
courteous,
courteous,
cordial,
cordial.
but we don't get into like a very intimate association.
But we don't get into like a intimate association.
That I think is quite all right in the office place.
I think it is quite all right in the office.
Don't expect it to
In the office place, we don't expect
be very personal.
to be very personal. Hare Krishna, dearest Guru Maharaj, please accept my most respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. Question: some devotees are taking the association of devotees and start doing chanting and enjoying the process of Krishna consciousness. But when their relatives or parents say negative about ISKCON, immediately they leave without informing. It is painful for me that how I missed that soul to serve. How to understand this situation, how to overcome and how to help them. Please guide me, Gurudev. Your spiritual daughter, Urjeshwari Radha Devi Dasi.
Part of preaching is to help the people.
A part of preaching is to help the people
To tolerate the different obstacles.
to tolerate the different obstacles.
When they encounter obstacles from their relatives,
They may encounter obstacles from their relatives,
from the internet,
from the internet,
some, I don't know,
some I don't know,
some apparently some Ritik site
some
say I murdered a devotee.
some Ritik sites they say that I murdered a devotee.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
I don't kill a fly, what's to kill a devotee?
I don't even kill a fly. What to kill a devotee? What to speak of killing a devotee?
So, who knows what people say, what they see.
Who knows what the people say about what they see?
So, we have to be ready to answer any questions that come up,
So we have to be ready to answer any questions that come up,
or prepare the people to endure any kind of obstacles.
to prepare the people to endure any kinds of obstacles.
There was one devotee who was kidnapped by teeth programmers.
So there was a devotee who was kidnapped by the deprogrammers.
Exactly a few days before she was kidnapped.
Exactly a few days before she was kidnapped,
I called her and encouraged her.
I called her and encouraged her.
No, just generally.
Just generally.
When she was kidnapped,
When she was kidnapped,
they tore the Bhagavad Gita out, they jumped on it, they did all kinds of offensive things.
they tore off of the Bhagavad Gita, they jumped off on her,
On the Gita.
on the Gita, and they did all kinds of offensive things.
But she remembered that I was kind to her.
But she remembered that I was kind to her.
And she went through some difficult times.
And when she was going through some difficult times.
And then she escaped from that
And then when she
place
escaped from that place
and came back to
and came back to
the devotees.
the devotees.
So we don't know what, at least if we do our part,
So we don't know, at least we do our part.
the positive, we go to association.
Be positive, give them association.
And if someone turns away,
And if someone turns away,
the fact that we are ready to help that what happened rule used to come, what happened used to come,
so we should tell them what happened. You used to come.
and like that, try to find out what's the
So like that, try to find out what's the
thing they heard.
thing that hurt them.
Things they heard.
Things that they heard.
And like that, we try to help them.
So like that, we try to help them.
Not easy to make a devotee.
It's not easy to make a devotee.
Prabhupada said it takes buckets of blood.
Prabhupada said that it takes buckets of blood. Question.
Krishna Astu blessing.
Krishner Matirastu blessings. Question. Hare Krishna Srila Guru Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and you. Guru Maharaj, can someone who's endeavoring to follow his Guru's instructions sincerely and is making efforts to take his Guru's instructions and desire as his life and soul, but hasn't got the chance to take formal initiation, can such a person go back to Godhead, achieve the highest goal of Krishna Prema in this very life, can also achieve his Guru's service eternally? Question from Paridhi Rati.
Since the name of Krishna is not different from Krishna,
Since the name of Krishna is not different from Krishna,
somehow by chanting the name of Krishna,
so somehow by chanting the names of Krishna,
one may also achieve the highest perfection.
one may also achieve the highest perfection.
But a sure way is if possible we should take initiation
But the secure ways to take initiation
from the authorized Guru Parampara,
from the authorized Guru Parampara.
and then that way serve Krishna.
So, and then in that way serve Krishna.
But you see, Krishna gives you an opportunity
So you see, Krishna gives you the opportunity
to take initiation.
to take initiation.
Out of false ego, you don't do it.
But if out of false ego, if you don't do it,
Then not really Krishna's fault.
then it is not really Krishna's fault.
So if he gives us some help,
If you give you some help,
we should take it.
we should take it.
And during this lockdown period,
So during this lockdown period,
I'm also giving initiation on the internet
I am also giving initiation on the internet
by Zoom.
by Zoom.
And I know other gurus are also doing the same thing.
I know that other gurus are also doing the same thing.
So if one is qualified, they could take initiation.
If one is qualified, then they can take
You
initiation.
don't have to wait for the guru to physically come there.
They don't have to wait for the guru to physically come there.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Do you like our ad-free videos? Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.